always believed that teenagers were an important age group, but when I began studying what teens have done in history, it sparked a fire. Teenagers are the spearhead of a revolution. Because of the reforms of the early 20th century, preventing child labor and mandating education through high school, it lengthened the pre-adult years. The term teenager made an appearance in a 1941 issue of Reader's Digest, but being derived from long-established teen age, it must have been around at least a few years earlier. Many have heard the story of David and Goliath, how a giant dude threatened the army of Israel, and this teenager named David used a sling, hit the giant in the forehead, killed him, and gave liberty to the people of Israel, all because of a teenager. Alexander the Great was one of the most successful military commanders in history. He was best known for conquering pretty much all the world known to the ancient Greeks around 300 BC. But by the age of 16, he founded his first colony and named it Alexandropolis. It wasn't easy being a girl in the 1400s. But Joan of Arc didn't let that stop her from becoming a national hero in France. A peasant girl who led the French army to several important victories during the 100 Years' War after claiming to have visions from God. She was later captured by the English and executed for heresy, all before the age of 20. At age 16, Barbara Johns made the most dramatic contribution to the American Civil Rights Movement. What she did led to a legal crisis that wound up in the U.S. Supreme Court as Brown versus Board of Education. That ended legal segregation in America. Rosa Parks is often praised as the greatest hero of that movement because she refused to get out of a bus seat. Few people know that when she did, she was following the example of 15-year-old Claudette Colvin, who did the same thing in the same city several months earlier. Rosa Parks was inspired by a 15-year-old teenager. Eliza Lucas was 16 when she took over her father's plantation in South Carolina, made brilliant decisions, and soon became one of the wealthiest business leaders in the American colonies. She was so well known that George Washington himself asked to be a pallbearer at her funeral. We've all heard about the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, but did anyone ever tell you of a similar ride by Sybil Ludington? She rode twice the distance of Revere, through a rainstorm, charging her horse over roads of mud to warn the countryside that redcoats were sacking Danbury, Connecticut, seizing the foothold they would need to retake the colonies. Ludington alerted militia men, and they were able to stop the invasion, chasing the redcoats back to their ships. She was 16 years old. Responsible and restrained, a warrior when needed but peaceful when possible, was the real Billy the Kid. Historians know this, but the general public doesn't. He was called the Kid because he wasn't old enough to vote, but played a role in removing a corrupt governor from office by way of impeachment. There's no doubt that teenagers can and will shape our culture because they've been doing it for years, without any credit or recognition. We all have heard it's all about the Benjamins and show me the money. So teens can have a powerful voice if they don't just put their money where their mouth is, but make sure their mouth is actively involved in a purpose to change and better their generation. They say they own you. Are you going to use your power for them or for a greater cause in history? What will you do?